Welcome back to another review and thoughts on. Goosebumps to Haunted Halloween, which is a sequel to the 2015 live action Goosebumps film, which starred Jack Black and a few others. This one is what I read is a standalone sequel, but it does connect to the first film in a line of dialogue, and it has Jack Black at the very end. Third act, which he does nothing, so I don't know why they even bothered to have him show up. He doesn't do the voice of Slappy like he did in the first one. I believe he did the voice of Slappy in the first one. Instead, we have the puppeteer that does the movements for Slappy. He does the voice as well for Slappy. Which this one, I mean, it's a $35 million budget, received mixed reviews, and it only made, again, $93 million. So, nobody was really clamoring, I guess, for a third one. Which this one does, I guess you can say, leaves off on a sequel bait ending. But, I mean, again, you have, it has nothing to do, again, with the first film, really, aside from some dialogue of exposition and a very quick scene of dialogue. But this time, I mean, you have Slappy that comes back, and he wants, I guess this time, a family, so he wants to be a family guy. This movie, it had potential to be an actual, like, if you would have made a more darker, serious Goosebumps film, I mean, such as, like, Slappy, you know, taking it into his own hands to, what he, like, I would say go to Child's Play route with remake, with, what they did in that one, although I do like that film more. Granted, more because I actually like the relationship between Chucky and Andy in that one, versus here where Slappy again he wants a family. You have these three. I don't know about the okay. So there's two siblings, and then there's his buddy. I want to say Sonny. It's either Sonny or Sam. I think it's Sam. But either one, the black one. I don't know if they either. I don't think they ever address that I remember. I don't think they ever address that either he is adopted by this family. But we never see him. We never see like his buddy and him at his house. We always see the black kid at the main character's house. So I don't know if he's adopted by this family or he's, you know, a close neighbor, friend, best friend that lives down the street. He never mentions his family, so I don't know if... And they don't address it in this movie, so... This whole time I was wondering, like, does this kid ever go home? What's his family life like? I mean, like, you have the two teen boys. They have this little job business thing where they collect junk, I guess. And you have the one kid, again, I forget. I think he played Ben in the It remake, 2017 remake, I believe. That's the kid, the same kid. But he is like a nerd. He likes to build stuff with electricity, electrocute stuff. They get a random call to this abandoned, boarded up house, which looks like the freaking house from It 2017, might actually just modified a bit so they don't get sued. But, you know, you have that. They go in there. I guess it was Slappy that called their phone number. I guess somehow he knew their phone number and was able to contact them, and he knew they would come in and read from his card to bring him to life. But then I think he's already alive to begin with, because he just appears when they open the chest and they find a book which is, I guess, the book from the first film. But then not really, because I think it's actually a different story. It's the first story that R.L. Stine ever wrote on it Halloween with Slappy in it. Which apparently, I guess, during like the production of this film, I guess the studio wanted to do a sequel, but it was gonna be either, horror. What was it? Horror. What was the name? It was with the amusement park, horror something, or it was gonna be Slappy's Revenge, which I guess you could say that, but then not really, because again he doesn't even address the events of the first film, so either. But yeah, and then you have the teenage daughter or sister, I should say. I mean, teenage sister, who she has a boyfriend. Turns out he's a scumbag, cheats on her. I don't know how she got in this one club. I guess she had a fake ID, which I'm surprised that that they were showing that in this movie. I think this is a PG movie, matter of fact. So okay. So yeah, teens can use their fake ID cards again in clubs that they shouldn't be going to. Okay, and raves. She goes there. She catches him cheating. She goes home. She's an inspiring writer, and she's having issues with that. Slappy sees that she's unhappy, so what he does, he has magic, so he's able to cast spells as if he's wizard, and some of his dialogue was okay, like, it wasn't really anything to stand out with, even to laugh. They do use some CGI to move him in certain shots. I mean, although they do use practical, like, puppeteering, at least, with his movements, I will say, overall, he's well, choreographed in his movements. But yeah, this movie, at first it seems like it's going to be just a Slappy film. But then towards the third act, he's like, oh, you guys rejected me, so I'm going to bring all these other monsters to life. I guess you can say they're from the book, but they're not. Well, they are, but they're not. Whatever. They're costumes that he brings to life, which are based, I guess, off of Goosebumps, but they're not the actual monsters like in the first film, where at least the kids in the first film, the monsters were already in the book. They just unleashed them from the book. Whereas here, they're not even from the book. They're just reanimated costume monsters that are made real. I guess you can say, really. Which I guess is fine, but it's kind of a paste and copy of the first film. Aside, at least there was some heart in the first film, I would say. Whereas here, it's not really. The siblings don't really have a heart-to-heart much in scenes. It's very quick to do stuff, to set up stuff. The mom in this is I guess a nurse. She doesn't really do a whole lot. She gets turned into a dummy in the third act briefly. Then it was weird where the very end is they establish. They say the residents of the town, due to the whole, I guess, third act or whatever was happening, their memory is wiped from what happened. So all these monsters that were, running amok in the neighborhood, they don't remember that. Which I don't understand that, because it affected all these other people, but it didn't affect the people that were in the first film, which there's even an article that talks about the first film in this. So it's like, I didn't understand that. What, it affects these townspeople, but not the townspeople that were in the first film, I guess, who were openly happily to write an article about that incident. Okay. There are some creepy moments, I will say, with Slappy, but again, it's a PG movie, so we can't have too much of a creepiness with him. Which, again, it would have been cool if, we take Slappy and you have these two teens, or these kids, they think, oh, he's a guardian to us, he's like a brother, and so they use him to get back at their bullies, or use Slappy to, other stuff. I don't know, like, they could have did something different with that, but they don't. They kind of show you what that could have been, but, they don't really elaborate on that idea, which sucks. I am interested in that Pinocchio Unstrung horror film. That one looks way promising than, But overall, I will say it was a okay watch. It wasn't fun. I wasn't really having fun watching it. Not really a big fan of the first film. Oh, well, I think I would give the first film at least more leeway, more points, because at least they had heart in it. Although the messaging in it is kind of, but that one, it seemed like it had, again, better characters, a bit, well, can't even say, I guess you can say a better plot. If they wanted to do an anthology thing with the movies, maybe, but the whole thing with, oh, we're bringing Slappy back, which I get it, he's the mascot of, but I wouldn't have minded the Haunted Mask adaptation in film, what's wrong with that? Or A Night in Terror Tower would have been a cool, interesting one to film on the big screen. But it's edited fine, it's shot fine, the acting's okay to fine, it's serviceable. The look of the film is okay, although, like, some of the car scenes when they're driving, you can tell it's, I believe, a green screen or a blue screen. Some of the shots, if they're not, then that's really bad. That I thought it was fake, that they were on a set. But yeah, if anybody's interested in paid requests such as movie reviews, commentaries, reaction videos, like, comment, subscribe. Also, PayPal in the description down below to make that request. So, yeah. Peace and love.